Welcome, everybody. Casting for Two podcast, episode numero 31. That's right, 3131. Or 13, number 13 reversed. Oh no. This is the haunting episode. I don't know if you guys can tell how happy I am that I just figured that out. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I've been kind of mixing up the days because due to my work schedule, Thursdays are kind of a packed day for me. So I'm trying out Friday. Just to see how it goes. I do like posting on Thursday, though. I'm not gonna lie. But you know what? Some CFT casting for two on the weekend is always good. Always goes down smooth. But enough of that of shop talk. Okay, I want to get into guest talk. Okay, because that is the point of the show. It's not about me or my hosting abilities. It's about the guest. And today I got a great guest for you. His name is Alex Fernandez, and he is on a bunch of shows right now. He is on the show Killer Women on ABC. He also has another show, Devious Maids, you know, the second season this summer. He's also on The Bridge. He does a lot of voiceover work and theater work. But you know what? Let's stop talking and let's get into this episode, okay? So sit back, relax, and Chris, cue the music, please. Hello.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing swell, just kind of chilling. I'm not gonna lie, I was jamming out to the awesome background music.
Oh, please tell me what it is.
It's just like like maybe a 1 or 2 minute loop of just the smoothest electro jazz you've ever heard.
Oh, nice. You've got the morning going right.
Exactly. How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good. Pretty good. We had a lot of rain here in Los Angeles last night, but the sun's come out, so it's a nice start to the day.
Mm-hmm. Do people freak out for around the rain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here in LA, everyone forgets how to drive. It doesn't rain too often.
Mm-hmm.
So when it does, everyone kind of just forgets how to drive, and the traffic, as bad as it always is, it gets even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so things go real nice and slow, and the rain kind of wreaks havoc on all things.
Yeah. Well, because I'm from Oregon, so rain's no problem for me.
Yeah.
I'm currently living in Texas, San Antonio, and whenever it rains, it's like, yes, people forget how to drive, and just more accidents happen. People don't even leave their homes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's not much rain in San Antonio either.
No, none at all. And right now it's we're getting a bit of a cold front, so
okay.
People are freaking out with that too. You know, they see. I mean, to me, it looks like salt. Somebody spilled salt on the ground, and they're like, "Oh, it's snow. We need to take the entire day off." I don't get it. But
weather can be real strange for some folks.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been a fan of just all the crazy weather, so I'm good either way.
I'm glad not to live in some of the more intense cold environments, but I do like to visit it. But I am glad to not be in it all the time.
Yeah. No, well, I have a friend who lives up in Madison, Wisconsin,
Oh
And
boy.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
So, but so this is a Casting for Two podcast. It's just a loose show where we talk about anything. I'm very interested in hearing people's stories. That's part of the reason why I have a podcast.
yeah.
And I just kind of like to get a little background info on, when you first caught the acting bug and stuff like that.
Well, I grew up in Miami, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of different from Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes.
I grew up in Miami, and there wasn't a big sort of theater presence in Miami, but I had really started to fall in love with the idea when I was in junior high of acting and being on the stage, but it took a while for me to be able to get the courage to actually step up there, not until I was in high school. But once it happened, I was doing a short play called The Bald Soprano.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid who was playing this one part in the play got expelled from school, and they had to get somebody to replace him, and they asked me, and I did the play, and that first time that I performed in front of an audience and got laughs and got people's attention, and it just sort of, I feel like it's biologically, physiologically changed me.
Mm-hmm.
Like suddenly I knew even at that early age that that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I didn't want to leave the theater that day. I wanted to sleep on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I've been a professional actor for 20-something years now, and I still feel that way. I've somehow managed to not get jaded or cynical about it, even though there's a lot of business considerations that you always do as you're an actor trying to build a career. But I still feel just as giddy and excited about working and acting, whether it's on television or on the stage, as I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty lucky. I'm pretty lucky to have discovered it so early and spent my whole life pursuing it. So I was in Miami, and I decided to study in London for about 6 weeks.
Mm.
Where we obviously went from a place where there wasn't a lot of theater to a place where it's just you're surrounded with it, and I just sort of swam in it basically, and it just was fantastic. And I went to acting school in San Francisco, American Conservatory Theater, and then I graduated in 1990, and then since then I've just been sort of building and pursuing my career.
Mm-hmm. And did you have parents that were into theater, or
No,
it was purely you?
It was just me. It wasn't. I'm a pretty big guy, so everybody kind of assumed that I was going to play football,
mm-hmm.
and they were wanting to see me do that. And my brother was a very talented athlete, but there was nobody else in the family. I didn't come from any kind of theatrical background or family. And when I discovered this is what I want to do, it's not really what the folks wanted. They were really against it at first. In fact, once I was supposed to go to this theater conference with my school, and I really wanted to go to it, and my mother really didn't want me to go simply because she didn't want me to, pursue this. She wanted something where I wouldn't be starving to death for many, many years. And we got into this big argument, like a shouting match about it. My father, who worked very hard during the day, when it was time to sleep, he was, we all kind of made sure that that he had a quiet environment. And my mom and I were just shouting at each other about it. And suddenly, out of the corner of my eye, I see the bedroom door open, and my father in his tighty-whitey underwear comes rushing out, and like a blur, just kind of like body slammed me up against the wall. Because the yelling match, and
mm-hmm.
it was challenging at first, but once they came to see me in plays, and certainly when they started seeing me on television, they changed their minds, and they really became incredibly supportive and incredibly proud. And but I mean, it's a very difficult existence being an actor, and I wouldn't wish it on my children, so I certainly understand them not wishing it on me.
Do they have your children? Do they show any signs of wanting to be
Oh,
an
I don't.
actor?
I said that figuratively. I don't have children.
Oh,
But,
okay. Okay.
but
Well, maybe one day,
yeah,
maybe.
maybe. I mean, it would be different. It would be different because, as I said, my parents, was a working class family, so there was no. If I had children, they would be getting born into a family that was involved in the arts, so it probably wouldn't be that big a stretch for them,
Yeah, yeah. That's nice. And plus, yeah, the arts. There's so many outlets they could do. Whether it was music, painting, stuff like that.
Right.
So
That's right. Yeah.
all the jobs that you put 200 hours plus of commitment and sometimes don't get anything out of it, but
That's right. Yeah.
but yeah, at least you
200
feel
hours
accomplished.
and $2.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you were doing these plays, did you ever have a bad play or a bad moment where just either the director or just something didn't mesh well with you?
I mean, there's lots of stuff. Excuse me. There's lots of stuff like that. When you do a lot of theater, or you do, I've been very fortunate to work a lot professionally as well as in other ways. And when you work on, for instance, plays, only whenever a show is good, it's kind of, maybe one out of every 5 or 6 is going to be something that's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time you come together and you hope it's going to work out, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I've had some experiences with directors where I'm not always the best guy to direct because I kind of have a really strong approach to what I'm doing, and I've come to the party with a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts, and sometimes people are a little intimidated by that, and we can get into some conflict with it, but it's not usually. It never gets personal because it's all really just about trying to have the best product and upgrading to the best idea. You know, on television it's a little different because in television it really is in a lot of ways a business, and so people are creating a product that everybody's kind of agreed on what it is. So when I come in on a lot of the TV shows I've done in the past, I'm a guest walking into their already operating machine and stepping into the machine as it rolls and deliver my part so that the machine can keep rolling. Mm-hmm. And I've had some bad experiences, and I've had some really the vast majority of them have been really great. And most people who do this understand and appreciate that they're getting to do something that most people don't get to do, and they're getting to get paid to do something that is fun and creative, and it's not something that most people are fortunate enough to do. The other day I'm on this TV series Killer Women, and every once in a while on a show you have to come in and redo audio that was recorded because of some audio problem, or say, in this case, I played a Texas Ranger, so I was wearing cowboy boots in every scene, and so the cowboy boots clacking on the floor often ruined soundtracks.
Yeah.
And I had to come in and replace one piece of dialogue in a scene, and then one other piece in another thing. And literally, all I had to do was walk into the ADR studio, and at this one point, I just let out an exhale. They record me exhaling so they can put it onto the thing. That was my job. That's what that's what my professional work was to exhale into a microphone, And I just turned to the guy behind there and I said, man, this job is awesome. You know how hard my father had to work for his money, and here I am going,
yeah.
And that's all. That was my morning.
Yeah, you got paid to breathe in and out, basically.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And how I was looking at your work. How did you get into voice acting?
Well, when I graduated from acting school, there was a terrific director there named Jack Fletcher, who he and I hit it off and became close professional collaborators. And he got into the business of dubbing Japanese animated cartoons into English. Mm-hmm. So he sort of culled together a group of actors who he knew to do that. And as he did it more, he got to be more well-known and got to do other projects. And then he would always hire me. And then once I'd get hired on something else, the other producers of that would know that I could do a good job. And I kind of just fell into it. For the first few years that I was in Los Angeles, as I was trying to break in, that was most of the work I did was video games and animated Japanese animated films and all sorts of voiceover projects. And it was a really great experience because it's a very specific kind of acting, you know. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have anything but your voice, and so it's really fun to watch the much better guys, the great guys in the business, like a John DiMaggio or something, where they so fully inhabit this character, but they understand that they're just doing it with their voice, even though their arms are flailing and they're doing all sorts of stuff. It's really challenging, and it's really it's unlike any other acting, because when you're on stage or you're in front of the camera's watching you and it's interested in your thoughts and your behavior, and that's what always plays the best on camera. But in this, you're having to deliver all of that nuance with just your voice. Mm-hmm. And I think it's something that seems to be good for people who come from the theater as well, because they've spent time, using their voice creatively. And that's how I got into that. And I ended up doing something like 36 video games, and video games were always fun because half the time it was in some kind of shooter game where, I'm mostly doing, dying reactions. So it'll be 8:30 in the morning and I show up and I take a sip of coffee and they say, okay, go. And I'm like, ah! So again, a very, I'm very fortunate to have made my money doing things like that. So,
okay, yeah. Right on. And earlier you were talking about how you have all these ideas. Have you ever thought of writing or directing a project?
Well, I have directed a lot of theater. Mm-hmm. Which I enjoy. Right now, I'm working on a production of Shakespeare's Henry V here in Los Angeles at the Pacific Residence Theater. Mm-hmm. And I get a lot of pleasure out of doing that. Mm. And I also was I directed a play years ago called Lions that was very successful here in Los Angeles, and it got sort of optioned to be made into a movie, and myself and a couple of other people, including the playwright, wrote a screenplay for it, which is currently sort of in the development stage. And so I do some of that, and I always love it when it's always very enjoyable when I do. But the pursuit of the on-camera career takes up a lot of time. It's kind of hard to pursue it without pretty much 100% commitment,
Right, yeah.
But I really enjoy doing the theater because it allows me to still be involved in the theater. It's kind of hard as much as I work on television, it's kind of hard to commit to acting in a play because the play runs are sometimes, a couple of months long. And when I direct a play, the commitment's much shorter, and if I'm having to step out to do something, the machine can still keep rolling, as opposed to if I'm playing the lead in the play and I get a TV show in Atlanta, unless they had the understudy ready, the show kind of, grinds to a halt. So it's worked out for me. I've found myself a nice little niche where I've got my TV work going very well, and I make a lot of time to do a lot of theater here in in Los Angeles. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really good. It's a really good time because there was a lot of times when I first came to Los Angeles in 1993. I didn't get my first job on camera for a couple of years, and then I didn't get any kind of really serious. I didn't get a job that got me any attention until about 2004. So it's been a long sort of hike through the Hollywood wilderness to get to a place where I, suddenly looking up and I'm working on 4 different TV shows at the same time.
Yeah.
I've been really, really lucky. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I really it never escapes my observation that I'm luckier than most guys who do this. So
There you go. Well, it just shows that if you put the amount of work in, you eventually get the same out of it. So
yeah, the thing is that you can't tell somebody to put this kind of work in,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to, especially with something like acting, which is kind of ephemeral and also requires the cooperation of a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to need it so much
Mm-hmm.
that you have to wake up in the morning thinking about it and go to sleep at night thinking about it, because otherwise I don't see how anyone could just put in the thousands of hours it takes to get somewhere, to get to a place where you're having some mastery of your craft as well as establishing some foothold in the professional milieu. You can't just decide I'm going to put in 10,000 hours of work into acting. You have to. It's like if I had to, I need to act.
Mm-hmm.
If I couldn't get a job. And I had to sort of dig a ditch in the ground and act in it, I would do that. It's kind of what I need to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so the hours are long, and it's been many years of fighting, but there's lots of very talented actors that I've known who have sort of just given it up because they just didn't need it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's no judgment on them. They were wise enough to discover that that's not something that they needed to pursue. But in my case, I'm hopelessly addicted, and so the hours sort of just pile up, not out of knowing that that's what needs to happen, but I kind of have no choice. This is what I need to do, and so I do it.
Right. No, that makes sense. I'm just a little sidebar. I think your 5th show could be you digging a ditch and acting. I think that'd be a really entertaining show. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to see that now.
Yeah, episode 1, buying the shovel.
There we go. So when you're not, working on all these shows and doing theater, do you have some free time to just, watch movies or other TV shows or books, anything like that?
Lately, it's been real busy, but I do always try to make time to watch a lot of TV, simply that's where I do my, make my living.
Mm-hmm.
I love, I was really, like so many people in the country, I was obsessed with Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Watched all of that, and I've recently gotten into a BBC series called Luther.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen any of that? That's a really great show.
No, but I like Idris Elba.
Yeah, he's terrific on it.
Yeah.
And BBC has a couple of great shows like Sherlock and Luther, and so I watch a lot of TV. I like reading. I just mentioned putting in the 10,000 hours. I'm a big fan of the books written by this author named Malcolm Gladwell, who's just sort of makes sociological studies of why people behave the way they do and what are the common traits of successful people and creative people. And I've always seemed to have a Malcolm Gladwell book in my bag when I'm traveling for work anywhere. And then otherwise, I live with my girlfriend here in LA, and she has a lot of interests that I get to take part in. She's a roller derby player.
Oh. So
I get to be around that and go see her play roller derby and be around the sort of whole roller derby culture. And so it's from what I do, it's a real nice respite when I'm directing the play and I have a lot of responsibilities, or if I'm an actor and I'm traveling to work on a show or not. It's kind of nice to just show up at this, track and just sit back and watch a bunch of women skating very fast into each other,
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But so I mean, that's all I had to that I wanted to bring up. But was there anything else you wanted to talk about, or for the people at home who'd like to reach out to you, where could they do that?
Well, they can find me on Twitter. My handle is @OwMyHead, which is OWMYHEAD. Mostly I couldn't think of a Twitter handle, and it gave me a headache, so I came up with the Twitter handle @OwMyHead.
There you go. It works.
Yeah. And, my series Killer Women is on ABC Tuesday nights at 10.
Mm-hmm.
They can see that as it's actually set in San Antonio, the series. It's about the Texas Rangers, and I play Lieutenant Louis Zea, the head of the Rangers in the San Antonio, Waco area.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And it's a really fun series. It's on for a couple more weeks. And in the summer, I'll be reappearing on Devious Maids on Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the Los Angeles area, you can come visit the Pacific Resident Theater in Venice, and you'll see me in Shakespeare's Henry V, a really exciting production of this Shakespeare's great warrior play, performed in a very small space with a very intimate, with a very innovative staging. So if you're into theater and you're into Shakespeare, or even if you're not into Shakespeare, I think if you come see this, you'll enjoy it. So there you go.
If you're into people talking, go see it.
Yeah. If you like people talking loudly at you, you'll love this show.
There you go. But Alex, I've had a great time talking with you.
As have I.
I feel like it's going to be hard missing you on the TV because you're on you're on a majority of the shows. So for sure, I'll definitely check out one of your 50 shows.
Thank you, Chris. It's a real pleasure to talk to you.
You too. You have a good day. Okay.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, you can always catch up with these episodes on castingfor2.com. You can also follow me at Twitter @castingfor2 or send me an email at castingfor2@gmail.com.